welcome to Blockchain Technology Conference, first edition. I'm here with Jana Petkanic. Hi. You just had your first session, right?
Hi, yes, I really enjoyed.
You talked about Ethereum and its fundamentals, right? And new technologies are obviously very confusing, and if we aren't careful, those misconceptions might actually become the norms. And sadly, and one such example is the difference between the Ethereum blockchain and the Bitcoin blockchain. People don't really seem to understand the difference. So my first question would be, what's the difference and what can we use the Ethereum blockchain for?
Okay, so very high level, the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum blockchain is that with Ethereum blockchain, we are able to create conditional payments. So with Bitcoin, we have to use some side chains and workarounds to do that. And then obviously the transaction speed. In Ethereum case, we can speak about 15 seconds on the average, whereas in Bitcoin, it's like 10 minutes. But obviously, all these features, they bring some benefits and some disadvantages as well, you know. So it's not like, we cannot say Ethereum is better, like it's general statement, or Bitcoin is better. Depends on a specific use case you want to build.
And how does it work and what are its main features of Ethereum?
So Ethereum is using proof of work as a consensus. I mean, for average user to understand what it's about, like proof of work is a way to make blockchain as open source software which is run by, let's say, 20,000 nodes. It's a way how to make it secure. So how to create some incentives for the players and ecosystem not to corrupt the system. And so this proof of work is one feature. Another one, transaction speed, as mentioned, on the average 15 seconds. And obviously it's tokenized blockchain. So we can talk about cryptocurrency called Ether, which is a digital asset on top of Ethereum blockchain.
And of course, being a new technology and all, there are some flaws. Have you discovered any flaws while working with Ethereum and also perhaps some hacks?
Yeah, flaws. I mean, there are many, you know. I mean, because I'm also doing IT consultancy. So in the past, I did development, but currently it's only about consultancy. And, you know, it depends on the level of knowledge user has. Like, what can we expect from him? You know, even the notion of private keys. You know, some people, they don't like the idea that they are fully responsible for them. So because of that, you know, we can witness a lot of private keys being stolen or being hacked, like leaked from some of your documents, you know, because people, they are just reluctant towards the proper key management, which I fully understand. It's a lot of work in comparison to a standard bank account, you know. But in the end, the benefits we get from it, it might be worth. But there is this huge knowledge gap between us as people from industry and between, so to speak, average users out there, you know.
And one thing you didn't mention in your session was the Ethereum tools. What are your favorite tools?
I was using Remix. I'm not saying it's the best tool, but because, you know, it depends on the browser you are using and on the OS you are using. And as a wallet to deploy smart contracts, MetaMask definitely. It's very convenient to use. Whereas also yesterday someone had a session about user experience, and they also mentioned like the other wallet, my Ether wallet. I'm not saying it's completely bad, but yes, user experience is like, I cannot imagine using my Ether wallet. Even my father won't be able to use it, you know, because it's just so complex. And the customer journey, the user journey is just too long, you know. So, and from technology perspective, MetaMask works for me like 100% of time I need it.
And how about languages? I heard that Solidity is a very big hit right now.
Yeah. And also good thing about Solidity is that it's not only in the Ethereum ecosystem you can use it, but also other ecosystems like Rootstock. Rootstock is basically a sidechain for Bitcoin blockchain. And they are also using Ethereum virtual machines, so basically you can use Solidity as a language. So I would see Solidity as a language worth looking into and learning it. because it's not only about knowing the language, but when you don't understand how blockchain precisely works, then you cannot deploy proper smart contracts, no matter how good your language, Solidity language skills are.
Mm-hmm. And I heard that you're working on a really exciting project right now. Could you tell us more about it?
Yes. I mean, as mentioned in my session, here we can deliver some blockchain-based solution. I mean, here in developed countries, but we see some impact, or maybe none, or maybe it's only like a marketing. Also in the Netherlands, like many people are laughing, like entire ecosystem in the Netherlands is basically creating a country of proof of concepts. Because yes, we have a lot of like proof of concepts, but there is only a little actually built. So therefore, I'm more focusing on emerging economies and fintech and financial services. So the project I'm involved in now is microfinancing borrowers in Mexico, and it's blockchain-based solution for peer-to-peer microfinancing. And it's Ethereum based, obviously. So we are using smart contracts and conditional payment approach to bridge the emerging economies and developed world. So we are like opening up to Western investors. So when you have your money in your savings bank account and you lend them to some borrower in Mexico, then obviously we can provide you with higher return on investment, and we can provide him with lower interest rates. Because I won't go now into details, but we are like bridging the benefits of both worlds, sort of. Mm-hmm. Because in emerging economies, due to scarcity of money and due to legacy systems, administration, and the fact that the money is very difficult to access, then some people, they face loans with interest rates of 70-80%. Which is here for us when you go and ask for a mortgage, the bank gives you 1.45%, Yeah. And we are taking this as a granted, but 2 billion people in the world, they live completely in a different sort of financial service space. So with blockchain and with the feature that we are having Internet of Values now, we are able to provide better services for those people.
That sounds really impressive. And it was recently announced that Hyperledger Fabric would be supporting Ethereum, which is probably a very big step, not only for Ethereum, but also for Hyperledger itself. So what's your take on this new announcement, and what does this say about the future and perhaps even importance of Ethereum?
Yes, it's a very interesting event in a blockchain history, so to speak. Also, as we had the Bitcoin Cash hard fork a week ago. I would say, Hyperledger being permissioned blockchain and Ethereum being permissionless blockchain, it's very comparable to, as I mentioned, to intranet and internet. So intranet being a predecessor to internet as a public network. So therefore, I see evolution maybe going this way, that maybe Hyperledger combined with Ethereum, well, not combined, but when those communities united in some way, that maybe Ethereum will be the first one, to leapfrog all other blockchains and to become like sort of the next internet within blockchain space. So now, with permission ledgers and with DLT technology, we are creating some kind of improved databases. I know many people don't like the expression, but yes, it's an improved database, So, and we need this inflection point that, yes, enterprise is using up to now, like the DLTs and permission ledgers. They need like some technology to run into permissionless ledgers. So therefore, I see many benefits coming here. But I would also appreciate if they would be joined by some, I'm not saying like Zcash, but some ecosystem, some community which is solid as it comes to knowledge about privacy things. Because none of them, like Ethereum and not Hyperledger, they lack professionals for the privacy yet.
It's an interesting step, so we should keep an eye on it. And one last question: what should developers keep in mind before diving deeper into Ethereum? What are the, let's say, key considerations?
As mentioned, like Solidity is yes, it's a must, obviously. But what is very important and what many developers don't follow, I would say, is Ethereum is not the only blockchain. There are many other blockchains, and for the sake of not universality of the profile developer in the future, but also for the sake of him being able to understand what are the different features of blockchains out there, which are mature enough, obviously, he shall follow at least like 3 blockchain ecosystems to then be able to combine the best when building on Ethereum or on Bitcoin or whatever. Because then it's you have to develop certain kind of thinking in order to become a good developer. And in blockchain, due to complexity and due to like very new features which we are able to create, it's very important that he broadens his scope beyond Ethereum.
Mm-hmm. That's great advice right there. Thanks a lot and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thanks for having me. Have a nice day. Thank you.